here's a useful trick that is like a little more intermediate. So the most common chords on guitar are called the 1-4-5 chords. And that's not always true, but it's pretty true. Like, once you grasp the concept. So some examples of 1-4-5 chord progressions are like C, F, G, or you could do G, C, D, G, or A, D, E, A. So all these things are 1-4-5. E major, A major, B major, A major, E major. So those are just 1-4-5s in the 5 most common keys. I missed one key, which would be D, A, or D, G, A. So I mean, I could do more lessons about those chords. I think I've done a few already. But the more intermediate thing, what's kind of fun to do is you go like. It's really like close. Like as you get better at guitar, it's kind of fun to figure out like ways to keep stuff together, like really close together. So like this would be G, D. You could do C, G, but this is a way to do it that's like really practical. 1-4-5. So what you can do is, if you know F chord, 3, 3, 2, 1. So make sure you can do this chord. It's a really good way to do F major. So 3, 3, 2, 1, 3 on the A string, 3 on D, 2 on G, 1 on B. You want to mute these out. See my thumbs up there? And then the top of this finger is just lightly hitting that. So you can't hear the top string. What you do is move this up so that it becomes 7, 7, 6, 5. We'll do it right here. We actually can do it wherever we want. This is a comfortable spot. This is A major now. So what you want to do is just strum this, like we'll do 4 strums. Then what you do, we're going to do the 1-5 first, because this is the more common thing to do. So this is a little tricky, but it's worth learning. So move your pinky up 2 strings, so it goes to the G string, and move your middle finger down 1 string. So these outer 2 fingers, your first and these 2 fingers stayed where they were, but those other ones moved. So now you have that's E7. That's 7, 6, 7, 5. So we got A major, 7, 7, 6, 5. Pinky moves up 2 strings, middle finger moves down 1 string. Remember, this is up on guitar, and this is down, because that can be confusing. Playing is the 1 chord in the key of A major, which is A, and the 5 chord in the key of A major, which is E7. And Jack Johnson really likes to do this, but lots of people do it. It's a really common thing to do. But Jack Johnson, I've seen him do it in a lot of his songs. But I mean, you see it a lot. Like it's a useful thing. Like people might not do it the whole song, but when you move out of open position, it's a good thing to know. That's the 1-5 chord. So then the question is how to grab the 4 chord. Well, you could do this, but really, like, kind of a cool way to do it. So watch, you can go like this. You can just lay this finger down and grab these 3 notes. The point here is to be able to do it fast, like. You could switch into this, but then it's not like the whole point of this is to show like a quick way to do the 1-5 or 1-4-5. So like we're on A major again, 7, 7, 6, 5, and then what you do to get the 4 chord is just lay your ring finger so that it goes up to on the D, G, B string, 7, 7, 7. So a nice way to practice it is 4 strums of this, A major, and then lay your ring finger up there, 4 strums of this little guy, which is D major, and go back to A major, and then to the E7. And what I like about doing it up higher, like with these kind of chords, is kind of getting this kind of sound. Like, you can get more sophisticated with like adding extra notes. So what you do for that sort of sound is just make sure you do like this bouncy palm mute technique. That's why I was just thinking about this, because I did this Mumford & Sons thing for one of their new songs. You just kind of bounce your hand, like, so instead of like straight up palm mute, like where you keep your hand on the bridge, you just kind of bounce it. So you bounce it, and then you also press and release here. And what's nice about this too is once you got that, so right now one more time I'll do A, the 1 chord, 4 chords, that's D, A, E7, so I just switch in between them, but what you can do too, which is cool with this, is you can move it wherever you want. Like we could go down here, it's just a little harder. Now we're in the key of F, because the root note is actually right here, so that can be a little confusing, because you gotta like spot the root note from a bar chord. So it can be a little confusing if you're new to this kind of stuff, like what chords we have going on. But basically what I do is I just know this is F chord from playing for a while, but this is from this bar chord, so the root note, which gives the key, is right there. You don't really have to know what you're doing. Like when you learn stuff like this, you just move it around and just play with it. So F, the 4 chord is B flat. That's from this chord. So to know what the name of it would be, you'd have to spot that, even though we're not holding this down. C, here's the root note, C dominant 7. So we got. You can just move it wherever you want. You can move it up high, like this would be the key of C. But again, you don't really need to know like exactly what's going on right away. You can just start messing around with these 3 shapes. Now it's fun to do. I started to kind of introduce this, is try to add extra notes, like so like if you get this bouncy technique, you can start to kind of like, so like maybe here, or you can start to add like bass notes. And it's like, it's just kind of like you just got to do it for a while on a spot, so you hear something you like, or you can kind of artificially do it by thinking of a riff, like you can keep adding it. Kind of like think, alright, I'm going to do that riff occasionally, or maybe the last one needs something. Maybe at the end would be doing a hammer on, then picking it, pick it again, pull off. So maybe. It starts to be really fun because it's like there's only these three shapes, the 1, 4, 5s, and it's more like it's just more fun, I think, than going. Like these are 1, 4, 5s. Those are actually the same chords as. This voicing now is different than this. That would actually be the 7. This would be major. It just feels more liberating though when you can have your hands here and just. It kind of lends itself more to riffs. Also, you can get that sort of bouncy sound. You can do that with these too, but it just feels different like this. Like. You could do that on anything, but here it just kind of. One last trick I like to do is slide that over. So what you can do is slide this shape over 2 frets, and you can even go in between like I did, like. It's just like a really fun little thing that kind of opens up some doors if you're a beginner and looking for like more intermediate chord challenges that are super practical. And that's a 1, 4, 5 with the 5 chord as a dominant 7. And I just remember when I learned that, it's kind of like, because I kind of knew bar chords a little bit. Like I knew that kind of stuff, or maybe doing it in a different way, like. But I started getting irritated using that, and it's kind of like in between. Like it's not like little triads. It's not. Like those are useful to know too, but this is still like rhythm guitar in the middle of the fretboard. It feels a lot different than like full-on bar chords. So it's kind of like an intermediate thing. Alright, bye.